Hello and welcome back to SJ Cartier Limited Convos. And today I'm going to I commented on a couple of reselling videos recently. I've been having a little view of other resellers' YouTube videos, and I saw someone say it's easy to start from reselling again. And I saw in the comments that a lot of people were obviously highlighting the fact, yes, you started from scratch again, but you had connections, you were getting things given to you from your connections already in the reselling world. So starting from scratch isn't as easy as it looks, as you've made. So what I'm going to do is give a little explanation from me as to when you don't have these connections, how do you actually plan your route from becoming the idea of wanting to be a reseller to actually now becoming a reseller and actually reselling these items? So the question, as I always like to have a question that I now am answering, the question is, how do I start reselling with no knowledge or connections? And I'm going to go through, it's actually 10 points, steps of how to become a reseller, and how do you actually make it happen. So the first question that you have to ask yourself, and it is bullet point number 1, is decide why you want to resell. I think even for me, it makes a big difference to whether you are looking for that extra cash because you have a side job, or you are actually trying to make a business and become a long-term reseller for the foreseeable future. And you may want to then take it obviously full-time. It's not to say you can't be working and decide you would like to make this full-time and you are doing this at the moment on the side of your work, but it's to acknowledge while you're doing that at the side of your work, is this literally just extra cash to your job and you decide to want to continue in your workplace, or is this actually going to be your career and your life? And I'll say the reasons why I think it makes a difference when you're deciding how and where you want to become and how you want to become a reseller. Let's say you have a job and it is just extra cash. You can basically aim at stock that you know you can turn over quickly. That is like your aim. As a reseller, obviously the aim is obviously to buy something and hope for it to sell immediately. That is the aim. But when you have a job with a consistent amount of money already, your aim is more focused on that, I believe, to make a quick cash. When you're investing, you can invest in products on a higher individual scale than if you are thinking as a business, because you would want to invest that amount that someone has a job in and invests in one product. You'd want to invest that in 50 or 100 because you want to maximize your profit and longevity within that product. So you give an example, let's say for comic books. If you want to become a comic book seller and you have a job and you're literally just trying to make extra cash, you may be looking for certain graded key comic books from the very start. And when you see someone with a box load of comics, that is a long box or a short box, and they're saying they want 30, 50, 100 or £200, for example, you're not really fussed unless there's that one key comic in there that brings back the money for the whole box. Whereas with someone that is thinking more long term and does not have another job, you're investing in one product, trying to aim to make a profit on one product. If that doesn't work out, you have now took a loss on that one product. Whereas when you are thinking more long term, buying a bulk, you understand that hopefully 50% of what you've brought is what you have to sell. And if you don't sell that 50%, you still have a backup 50% that may also sell to help you bring some profit back in for the whole bundle, and you also are thinking long term because you want to have more stock. So that's why I put that first, because it really does make a difference to how you take yourself as a reseller. That could be with clothes. You may want to sell clothes and you're looking for specific types of trainers, for instance, that you know everybody is looking for. Or you could be going to kilo sales and buying loads of stock in abundance and trying to sell the individual brands and getting to know, like, realize other brands that may make your business now niche. Whereas when you have a job, you may only focus on those niche products. Yeah. Sorry.
So can I ask? Because I've got a little Vinted thing going on, but because I'm working, I don't really focus a lot on it. And I've kind of got clothes on there that have been gotten somewhere, and I just put it on there. But I feel like with Vinted, am I right in saying it's kind of different? Because I don't see people with Vinted really, like going on social media and saying, "Oh, I've got this for Vinted" or whatever, and you can go on my Vinted. I don't really see that. So then how would you get more people going and getting? How would I get them going and getting?
You jumped way ahead from the scale already. We was at the beginning, but to answer your question in that, basically, as I've explained to you already as well, kind of, with your Vinted, let's say, it depends on what you want to sell. So as I said to you, because you're like the clothes you were looking at were not the clothes I was looking at, which made your Vinted clothes sell at the time when you was buying a few Vinted clothes and listing them. They were selling slow, but because you was picking particular items, anytime an item sold, you made profit. That's because you had a job. You only cared about making a profit on the individual items, and that's why your individual items stood out in some terms better than some of my items, because a lot of my clothes I did pick individually. But at the beginning, I started out going to kilo sales and trying to buy bundles at car boots of clothes, then picking individual items per se. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So yours was all about, when you were sold your items, was to reinvest in other products. You didn't do that. You stayed with the couple times that you came car boot, and then you didn't come car boot, and you wasn't looking in charity shops no more. So that money that you actually you did make, because you had a job, it wasn't really a focus for you. And that's the point I was trying to get at. Like, even with that point, it is the right time actually.
Yeah.
Because even with you there then, and that's where I say you need to understand what kind of reseller you want to be. Do you want to just make a quick money that then you're just going to put into your normal day in life, and whenever you feel like going to buy other products, you do that? Or are you looking to reinvest as soon as you make profit and look to build your portfolio? Do you get what I'm trying to say? You built your portfolio on 2-3 trips with me. Not every time you was building your portfolio when you was with me. Yeah. Do you get that? So that was because you've got a job. Your focus, as you said to me all the time, was never to make it a business anyway for you. You was just doing it for fun and make a little bit of profit. Yeah. Do you get that? So your focus was different when you was reselling, because you only wanted to buy specific items for a specific price that you knew you could make a profit on. Do you get that? Yeah. Whereas sometimes in a long term, as a reseller, something you have to realize, you will take losses. Whereas when you have a job, you're not trying to take a loss. Do you get that? As a business long term, you're not trying to take a loss, but you have to recognize, when you are trying to be a long term business, there are products, there are things you're going to take losses on, and you're going to have to. Do you get that? To keep your business running every now and again, you'd have to just say, you know what, I'll let that go cheaper. but because you've brought in abundance, you're able to do that. Do you get that? And it's not as bad as if it was one product, because you're taking a loss on the one product. It's the loss now. Taking a loss on one product, but you add over 50 items in that lot, it's not as serious. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So it's about knowing where you want to go as a reseller. Why are you doing it? It's the key one. Number 2 now, decide what you actually want to sell. So you need to decide whether it's clothes, whether it's comics, whether it's a variety of things, whether it's antiques, whether it's very specific in like clothes where you want to just sell football shirts. What do you want to sell? Very key. Number 3 now, identify the leading brands in the field you want to sell. So for instance, if you are looking at football shirts, because I've just said that, you would decide, I want to resell football shirts. Which clubs bring in the most attention for their shirts and get regular sales for their shirts? And also, which shirts are the ones I'm looking for that also make me stand out with those everyday shirts? Yeah, because you need to understand what brands they are. And when you understand your football shirts, you understand there's a lot of replica football shirts out there. So you need to understand how these brands manufacture their clothes. You need to understand how these brands put their tags in their clothes. You need to understand the threading. You need to understand who are these brands and what are their specific like traits to them that helps you when you're looking to resource. And it also gives you the knowledge of what brand you are actually looking for. It could be antiques and vintage. So for me with antiques and vintage, my first knowledge of antiques and vintage was all focused around Roald Dalton, to be extremely honest. And when you start looking at Roald Dalton, you start looking then at Royal Albert, you start finding out about Franklin Mint. So that's how I ended up starting to find out about these brands. But when I was searching for antiques and vintage, my main focal point was Roald Dalton. So I worked around looking for things that were specific to Roald Dalton or similar to Roald Dalton. And when I understood what makes Roald Dalton collectible, it helped me in my hunt for other antiques and vintage. It could be football cards. It's recognizing, like for me, I only started selling football cards 3 years ago now, and it's been a while actually since I've been in the football cards now. So about 3 years, I'd say I've been buying and selling football cards. And I'll say at first, I was trying all brands. So I tried Topps, I tried Panini, I tried Futura, I tried Leaf. And at the beginning, because it's something you have to realize as well, you may be misled by influencers sometimes into what brands they think is acknowledgeable. And this is why I say you have to research your brands via the brands themselves and understand in these fields what brands are actually most recommended. So if you went in and put in what brands lead trainers, I presume Nike would be straight at the top. And then you'll have a list of the other brands that you should be looking for. These are brands that are regularly selling, that people are regularly searching for. So you know where you're looking to go. And then you can analyze these brands in their products and their stock. And that's something with the football cards I think I learned in the beginning by buying. I bought a Boxer Leaf. I would never buy a Boxer Leaf now. I wouldn't buy a card that is a Leaf card now, regardless of whether it's a Pele Auto or not. I wouldn't buy one. Same with Futura. Futura, I love the cards. At the very beginning, I was very much a promoter of Futura, to be extremely honest. But then when you recognize the value in authenticity of the cards, you realize Topps and Panini are the two brands that you just stick with. You don't really falter away. When it comes to soccer cards, football cards, Topps and Panini are the top two. And besides them two, just leave them alone. For me. So you have to research the brands that are being noticed. You have to acknowledge the brands that people are talking about. And in some terms, like the trading cards, you have to analyze these brands and look at them yourself before you take a decision on what brands you want to sell. So, as I said, football shirts, you need to know what brands you want to sell in the football shirts, but also recognizing the football clubs of those shirts are also a brand. Then you need to recognize what football clubs are the big brands in the world, and then you will recognize what football shirts you also want to look for. Yeah.
So would you say it depends on what you're actually wanting to sell?
Yes, definitely. It depends on what you're selling.
On whether you look for something that's high,
Yes.
known, named, or not.
Yeah,
so
because you could, for instance, as I'm saying clothes, I'm talking about football shirts.
yeah,
But let's say we want to just sell random clothes, retro clothes. I'm not even saying vintage, I'm talking retro clothes. Do you get that? So that's like 2000s, recent, yeah. And when you're thinking retro, you have to think what brands were about back then.
yeah.
Do you get that? What brands were there? There was Umbros.
Yeah.
You could think that low level Puma, Reebok, these were retro brands back then. Adidas and Nike have always been there.
Yeah.
Do you get that? They've always been there anyway. But then that's at the sportswear level. So obviously if you're looking to sell sportswear, then you know those are the brands. But then you could be looking at Valentino and Chanel and all types of other brands, Boss from back then. You could be looking at Armani way back then. You could be looking at brands like Echo and brands that you don't actually see no more like that. Could be looking at Moschino that was back then, like old school Moschino. Do you get that? Like not the new school, I'm talking old school Moschino that Mandem used to wear and wasn't really acknowledged at that time as well. To be extremely honest, it was looked down on, just like Stone Island even. People used to look down on Stone Island very much when I was growing up. In a sense, yes, we recognised the cost of Stone Island, but it attached some kind of, thought plan to what a person was who wore Stone Island, whether it was a hat, a coat, or whatever they wore.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People did connect it a lot to football hooliganism and all of that. But then now you see Stone Island is quite a well-known brand. So it depends what level you are talking. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you want to sell clothes, you need to know what type of clothes you want to sell to decide on what brands you want to sell.
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
With antiques, as I say, I went with Roald Dalton because I wanted to sell a lot of pottery stuff, a lot of artwork that was vintagely made, only limited to a certain number, and the ones that are still here in the best condition are the ones we want to maintain in history.
Yeah.
So knowing what type of products I wanted to get, understood what brands I'm looking at. Whereas when I'm thinking World War II now and I want World War II things, there's not many brands to look at other than the time frame. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it depends on what you want to sell, whether it's the brand you're looking at and what brand you actually are looking at. Because even when you think World War II is its own brand because it's a time in history that people like to collect. So what do people like to collect of World War II? Yeah, from my knowledge and the angle I've tried to go with the World War II, which sometimes it's hard for me to find, but it's also knowing, as I say, knowing what you immediately think to put your money into, whether you want to whether you're willing to hold it and wait for the profit, or whether you want that fast sale. With certain niche products, you may not get that fast sale. And that's where you need to understand what brands are actually selling, which brands aren't selling, which brands sell faster. But it all depends, again, what you want to sell. And again, it goes back to the original point, the very first one. Why do you want to resell? Because it depends on what brand you are actually looking for to get now. Yeah. Do you get that? So you need to know the brands. You need to understand the brands in the fields of the items that you plan to sell. And you need to have knowledge on them. And you get that by researching them on who they are and what are their specifics in their what is their ethos for them. Like as your ethos for your business and your reselling, you need to know what you want to resell and what the way you want it to look, the same as every other big brand has done. So you need to think like that as well. Once you've looked at other brands, you will start to get understanding in the field that you want to sell, the type of brand name that they have, type of taglines they have. And then this, I would say, is the time frame for you to decide on a brand name for yourself. This is where I would say, think of your business name, your tagline, and connect it to what type of things you are trying to sell, what the other brands' names are similar like in those fields, and be your brand. Could be anything. Me personally, I went with obviously SJ Cartier because my name is Samuel Junior Cartier. So I just went with the Cartier because everybody calls me Cartier as well, just as a twang. So it was like, instead of putting my full name in there, it's my name, but it's my brand as well. I am my brand. So understand, make your brand name from them, and think long term, because you can change your brand, but you don't want all that early work that you've done in the beginning of your brand to be going to waste. So think carefully about your brand name by what you've researched on the brands in the field that you definitely want to sell in.
Can I just ask, sorry, with the brand names, how do you, like if you pick a name, how do you make sure that you haven't got the same name as other people? How
you search
stop
that.
Someone
simple Google business name. You just search.
Yeah.
If we're in the UK, because obviously this is more focused on as a UK reseller. So when I'm going to talk about places you will sell, I am talking also from an English point of view, because I haven't actually ventured into America to know like what their thrift shops are like, to know like the difference to what it is in Europe to England and then worldwide. So I am talking as a UK. So with your brand as a UK, you can just go on HMRC and just go to websites and just business search the name. Yeah. You can then also, from you've done that online there, you can also do a Google search for the name. Just keep searching Google, search Microsoft, and you'll see brands for that name if it is. You can also do business name searches on, because when you decide on your business name, you'll have to register it and register your name. So you'll have to, because you have to register it, you'll have to have searches before you're able to register your name anyway.
Okay. And so registering it stops other people using what
you've... And this is why I say this is the time also to get your business name, because I'm glad you said that, because this is the time, as you have now researched all the other brands, you'll also start to get an understanding of these brands' names. You already know what you're looking to sell now, so now is the best time to pick a name that you think stands out from all the brands that you've been hearing in that field and is something connected to you. Doesn't have to be, but I'd always say it's more recommended, try and make it connected to you, because then it sticks with you. And if it connects to you, it can connect hopefully to others. So I do think SJ Cartier rings off the tongue, and I only added the limited because, as I say, in the second point, deciding what you want to sell, I realised I wanted to sell a variety of products. So because I already realised I wanted to sell a variety of products, SJ Cartier on its own was good, but it needed that extra bit because SJ Cartier is not just SJ Cartier. There's a lot of things that are trying to branch off from SJ Cartier. So limited just made more sense for me. Do you get that? Obviously, if you're a clothing shop, you could add apparel, for example. Do you get that? Just to add something to it. But because I was trying to focus on being the main man of my brand, I added the limited because That's the shit. That's the cap. That's the top. We're the main. Anything else after that is what it is. Yeah. So obviously, get your business name, one that stands out, one that sounds recognizable. Ask your friends, ask your family, ask strangers. What do you think of this name? To get actual opinions on the name. Once you're happy and you've settled on the name, register it, claim that name, start off. Yeah. Next, you have to decide how to plan to be niche in this market that you are decided to sell in, and also how to stand out in the market of all the already top competitors and lower end competitors. So what actually makes you niche? Is it the products you are sourcing? And is it your service? Is it the way you actually offer these products to the customers? So, for instance, if you're somebody that goes to a lot of football games, for instance, and you have football shirts, you have an opportunity to sell these football shirts in person. Obviously, if you're going to Arsenal, you're going to buy more Arsenal shirts than you're going to buy any other team, because they're going to sell a lot more in person there. Whereas that's you being niche, because you're able to sell them personally right here, right now. You could be niche because you're online. So when you're online now, you have a variety of other resellers, a variety of other businesses. You also have the brands themselves that are selling these products or who had sold these products. So how do you become niche? Do you become niche by only doing English clubs? Do you become niche by doing only European? Do you become niche by doing those shirts that are only vintage? Do you do player worn shirts? What makes you stand out? Do you get that? Do you want to be shirts that have been signed? What makes you stand out? So for me as a reseller, my thought plan was, I didn't want to just go for all the items that are being built up and highlighted. Yes, I wanted the products that everybody is looking for, but I also wanted to be a different kind of resource where people could have a browse and find collectibles from variety of categories and be able to buy them in one place from one seller and have them all shipped at the same time and arriving in a short space of time. So my niche was to be able to have a marketplace per se. Yes, like eBay, but on eBay you could go on there and you want to buy a trainers, a comic, and a teapot. And they're all three different types of sellers. They're all coming from different places. You want to buy them all today. You want to make one transaction. You're unable to do that. That's where I come in, because I actually have that. I have that and I have that. So you're able to buy all these at the same time and then be able to have them all shipped to you directly. And the products I'm looking for are products that I realise are brands that I realise do sell, but I try to find them in places that are a bit more niche and find those a little more niche, even though they're everyday, if that makes sense. So in the long term, whether people have brought them all off eBay, I'm still available and I've still kept them in the condition where I'm not taking them to a car boot every week trying to sell them. I'm not sending them to an auction trying to just auction them off. I'm not just throwing them down. I'm actually looking at them and sometimes and admiring them. I'm actually like cleaning them randomly. I'm doing certain things that kind of maintain the quality of the product I'm trying to sell. So these are little niche things that I add into my business, but what will you add into yours? That is the thing. What are you trying to be niche in? So as I say, my products may be, you can find each product on eBay, but you can't find each product by one seller. That's my niche. What's your niche? Because the products may be niche already, but there may be 10, 20, 100 other sellers. Why should they come to you? find your niche. Find your niche could be the type of product, but always remember there's always going to be someone else in this world that also resells that product. You get that? So you have to find a way to be completely niche. It could literally be your service, could literally be your customer service, and how you relay to your customers and how you meet people. Do you get that? So it depends on your niche. Yeah. Number 5, browse your options of where you're able to sell the products you are planning to buy. So if I give you an example, for me, as I said, I was buying a variety of items. I had to decide, where do I want to sell? Where do I want to sell? And from the very first instinct, I decided I would like to build a website. The reason I would like to build a website is because I have complete control of this website. I have complete control of the angle that my SEO goes within. And I'm also then not competing every day with millions and billions of other sellers. So I feel like, yes, I'm competing, but if you search for a product and you come to my website, I'm the only person you're buying from at this moment in time. Other plans, we have to have long-term plans, but my goals at that time immediately was focus on myself and the products that I'm adding, and making sure that they can always buy from there. And I even done that by going onto eBay and selling on eBay, because it helped me understand what type of products people are actually searching for and what people are actually buying. I looked at Amazon. I decided for me, Amazon wasn't for me. What was the reason Amazon wasn't good for me? Because of the type of products I was selling. If you are selling a certain type of products, Amazon may be best for you. Could be like electronics, could be like little cables, it could be computers, cameras, could be anything. You can sell comic books on there, you can sell books on there, you can sell DVDs, media. What are you selling, and where is the best place for you to sell them? Of course, for me as a new reseller, as any new reseller, the best place usually to start is eBay, to be extremely honest. But what is your long-term goal? Do you want to be staying on eBay? Do you want to start on eBay and become an Amazon? Do you want to just, as my partner says, do you only want to do vintage selling? Do you want to do car boot selling, where you are trying to flog something every week? You could be at a car boot every day trying to sell things. Are you do you have connections in other places that you are able to sell? So I'll give an example. I started at a vape business. So for me, with the vapes, I just found people that had food shops and certain like off licenses, where I was able to put a stand in there and leave my vapes, and if they bought them. So browse your options of where's the best place to sell the products that you're aiming to sell, and understand where you want to go. Yeah, I'm going to give you a few examples of the options you do have of where you could sell the products. You could be only aiming to sell via your website. You could be, remember, you can sell via one or multiple or all of these. It's up to you. Website, eBay, Whatnot, Amazon, Vinted, Car Boots, Facebook, Depop, auctions. There's a variety of options there for you, but which option would you like to sell in? Which option you would like to sell in also depends on the products you are now looking to buy.
So if there's someone, like if you're making your own things,
yes,
by hand,
yes,
would you say all of those are appropriate for that, or not really?
Okay, as a reseller, making things is not reselling. No, making things, that's you building a brand off the products you make. That's not reselling. Remember, is buying a product and then reselling it on. Whether you get that.
Oh, okay.
Do you get that? So,
yeah.
but with regards to that question, answer to the question, yeah. With that, yeah, it depends on what you're making.
Okay.
Yeah, because depending what you're making, there's a variety of regulations you need to understand from what you're making, which then come into how you sell them. Do you get that? Because you have to follow regulations when you're on each platform. You have to follow the product regulations anyway. Whereas as a reseller, you're kind of safe from that because you're only buying the brands that we researched at the beginning. Do you get that? So, you know, they, as a brand, they've already done the manufacturing of these products. They've already had them tested and qualified for everything to be put onto the market.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have to worry about that as much per se, although you have to test things and make sure things work.
Okay.
Do you get that? Like, so you could be buying toys. You have to always test the toys with batteries, make sure all the sounds, all the movements work before you look to resell these items. Yeah. So browse your options of where you'd like to sell these products. The next option, number 6, is now decide where and how you plan to buy your stock. And now this is where, after all the points you've had already, you decided why, whether it's extra cash or whether it's a full-time job you're looking at. You've decided why you want to sell, what you want to sell, sorry. You've identified the leading brands and you've identified your own brand name. You've decided on how you are now going to become niche within these fields, within the field or fields that you aim to resell in. You know now where you plan to actually sell your products. You now need to know how you buy your products. And there's a variety of options again, and some of these options may be the same options you had to actually sell these products, funnily enough. But there could be car boots, for instance. Depending on the product you are looking for, depends on how lucky you may be at the car boot. You could find everything you are looking for at car boots every day, or you could be just struggling to find that 1 or 2 things that you need at the car boot. You also, if you are planning to resell long term, as I'm more focused on the, not more focused on the long term, but I'm going to look at it as full timers. If you're planning to be full time, then going to as many car boots will open up your opportunity to recognize what you do actually see regularly at the car boot, and does that actually connect to the products that you want to sell. That's how you'll recognize whether or not the car boots may be good for you. Auctions may be good for you. If you know what you're looking for, you can set up alerts. You could have a local auction house next to you or within a drive of you, and you're able to get to this auction, and they do a lot of auctions for the products that you're aiming to sell. That may be an option. Remember, again, you can use one, few, or all of these. Charity shops may be an option for you, depending again on what you're selling. So I'll give an example. Car boots. I will say car boots are very good if you are looking for pre-loved clothes, if you are looking for antiques, vintage, toys, if you are looking for physical media, books. It's very good for those things. I wouldn't recommend going to a car boot trying to buy as many football shirts unless you know about football shirts. I wouldn't recommend just buying all the antiques that you see thinking every antique is worth something at a car boot. You need to know what you are looking for. If you are looking, I don't know what things because it's kind of hard. You can get everything from a car boot. You never know what someone's bringing.
Yeah.
Do you get that? You never know, and it depends on the car boot that you're close to, which is another thing that I wanted to point out as well. When you're thinking of reselling, as I said, you need to know what your capabilities are as well. Do you drive? Are you comfortable with driving long distance? Do you live in a city centre where you have a variety of charity shops, a variety of car boots, a variety of auctions? Or do you only have one or two or three of these things just local? Do you even have any of these things local to you? So knowing where you actually live and your surroundings will also help you understand where you're going to get these things from. Because if you can just pop down the road or jump in your car, for me, I don't drive. So for me, I have to look at all the things within my train routes and 45 minutes walk I'm willing to do. Yeah. So you need to look at those distances of what you're able to actually maintain and put out the effort you're able to put in from the area you are in. Because as we say, we have no connections, we have no other reselling friends that we are trying to work alongside. We're trying to build our own reselling business here, and as our own resellers, we need to look at what we're able to get to and what is the best option. So you may not actually have a car boot next to you, so that may not be an option for you. You may have a car boot, but you can't get to it because you don't drive. So that possibly may not be an option for you unless you can get a friend or decide to jump in the taxi and add those costs into what you are planning to buy when you get to the car boot. So depending where you live also depends on where you can get your things from. Because yes, online you'll be able to find a lot of things. As I will say, there's a lot of places you can buy from. I will point some of them out. But you need to know what you're capable of. Are you a person to actually spend time? So auctions, you can go to an auction, have a browse around the auction house before the auction, whether on the day or the day before, and you can mark down all the lots that you want, have an understanding of how much your top is that you would pay for them, understand whether you want to buy them all or percentage of these lots that you are looking at, understand whether you can only buy one or you need to buy all. You need to understand these limitations to yourself, and then it will help you understand where to go to. So car boots, as I say, you may not have a car boot next to you, so it may not be an option. You may actually be looking for more specific stuff that the car boots may not actually have that are close to you. So it all depends on what's near to you. Your auction houses may deal with furniture and you don't want furniture. They may deal with collectibles, you don't want collectibles. You want furniture. So knowing your auction houses and understanding the platforms that are also online auctions, how they actually maneuver, may help you in your long term as well. Charity shops, you may actually decide you want to question your friends and family and work colleagues. They may have all the stock you are looking for, but long term, will they have the stock for you? No. So you'd have to find other options. As I say, it may be one, but it may have to be multiple of these resources. There's the other platforms. So you could be looking on Vinted to sell on eBay. You could be looking on eBay to sell on Vinted. You could be looking to be on Whatnot to sell on eBay. Could be on eBay to sell on Whatnot. You could be buying a car boot to sell on eBay. You could be buying a car boot that is 100 miles up north to come and sell in your local car boot and make a profit. So understanding how you, because as I say, all these things, once you go through these points, you will answer these questions for yourself. I can't answer these questions for you right now because you have to go through your points, and I will put the 10 points in the actual comments as well at the end or in my bio. I'll decide when I'm going for the video. But yeah, you have to decide where. So once you decided why, you'll understand how much stock you want to buy, how quick you want to buy the stock, how quick you want the stock to go. You would then decide what you want to sell when you understand which stock you want to make profit from. You'll understand which brands you'll make profit from, which brands may take longer, which brands you need multiple of, which brands you may only need one or two to make enough profit. You'll know your niche market. So once you know all these things, you'll know what am I looking to buy, and what I'm looking to buy will decide on then where I want to buy. And because you already know where you're planning to sell, when you're looking to buy, you will know already where you want to sell because you already know. So this is why this is like a route for you without no knowledge. It's just knowing from yourself how to do it, what to do, and when to do it. Do you get that?
Okay. So how do you keep, so once you've got all of those things, you know all the things you want to do, what you have, everything, how do you then draw custom to you? How do you get yourself out there and noticed?
Okay, this is where we get to it now. Number 7 is now it comes to you've now understood where you want to sell. You've gone out and tested out these places that you want to buy from, and now you've actually got stock. You now need to go and list items. Yeah. To list items, you need to research the products, which hopefully you research the products and the comps if you don't have knowledge of already before you brought the items. Yeah, because you know where you're trying to sell them, so you know the market on there already, and you know how much you should be buying them for. Yeah, so understand your products, understand the comps, and understand availability.
Stopped. It stopped. It's just showing power off, restart, emergency, and medical info. I don't know what that is.
Oh, what's this? No, it's working. You know what it is? It touched the button. Right there. It's alright, it's just on the button. Ooh. It's alright.
Oh.
Gone. Sorry. You thought it had stopped. I was about to go, oh my days. Yeah? Okay. So yeah, back to order. So yeah, you research your products before you've brought them, so you know where you're going to sell them, and you know how much you're going to sell them for, because you already know the comps, you've seen them, you know the availability as well because you've looked. You then get packaging before you list. Yeah, before you list. There are many ways to get packaging as well. You could get packaging from your local shop, your local supermarket, from their boxes of stock that they get. You could go and get free packaging from UPS or Royal Mail if you set up an account. You can actually find a variety of packaging warehouses and distributors who sell bundles of packaging, all shapes, all sizes, depending on the products you are selling. You then will plan how. What? Oh, fella. So research your products, get the packaging. I'll take pictures. Plan how to take your pictures now, because you have to understand what lighting is better, understand what lighting looks better on each platform, what type of products stand out via your picture. So for me, I realised I was selling on my website. So although some people like to have backdrops like with their logos and everything on eBay or whatnot to kind of promote their brand as well as bring a highlight to their products, I've decided to go with just a plain white and grey background, because there's only should be the same look of the picture going through my old products. So that was my aim from the very start. But obviously when you're selling on another platform, you need to understand how to make your brand stand out and how to make your product stand out. Yes, the product should stand out because you knew what you was buying. The price should stand out because you checked comps. So now make your pictures, make your product also stand out because of the platform you're selling on. You then now list to these platforms and choose and start to understand how the platform actually works. So you've decided on the products you want to sell, you decided where you want to sell them, you've gone out and actually resourced these products now, you've actually got the packaging ready to prepare these products to ship, you've decided how much you want to sell these products for, you've now decided to take some pictures of these products, you now are on the platform ready now to list these products. You've listed the products, your products are now gaining views, you are now gaining customers, you now understand how the platform works because you have now had customers, you understand how you should be shipping, you understand how to print the labels, you now should understand the process of how it is to list even, so you may actually get faster at listing now because you actually understand the details that you need to add and all the specifications you need to add. And then you also start to understand what the platform's actually like. So for instance, on eBay, I'll give as an example, eBay does like, as a reseller or as a shop or a business, a lot of products being listed and sold. And if you can list products regularly, you will see your solds going up regularly. If you're listing obviously the right products that you researched and they stick to your niche of your shop or your business seller account. So while you're on the platforms, because I would advise anyone that is starting to resell not to just decide on one platform to sell via. At the beginning, I decided to sell on eBay. I decided to sell on my website, of course. I also, as we said, with my partner, she set up a Vinted. Yes, it was for her to just do make her profit, but it was also like for me, I didn't have time for Vinted. And while my baby girl's doing all the Vinted, I'm still having to learn Vinted because I'm having to help her do the Vinted. So I was obviously learning how the platform works, although I wasn't actually using the platform per se for myself. So understand the platforms, whether you're selling on them or not. Yeah? And don't just sell on one platform, sell on multiple platforms, and that way you will understand what works on each platform better and which you will want to continue a bit more in the long run. You may want to continue with them all in the long run, or you may want to trim it down to one or two. Depends on how your business is progressing, and it depends on the products you realize you're able to facilitate to get, and the products you would like to sell, and the products you are selling. Yeah. So list to the platforms and understand how the customers find you, understand what the customers like when they come to you, understand the products that they are viewing and the products that they may, because even when you're on these platforms, you will understand some products you may get loads of views and no sales. Some products may get one view and immediate sale. So understanding the platforms and what can sell quick and what doesn't, you'll understand because it will help you in the long run when you're out on the hunt looking for your products. And then number 9 I've added on the list is build your social network presence, which also helps start, because you've already started with your brand because you are now selling. I wouldn't say build your social networks first though, funnily enough. A lot of people will say that is wrong, because from you get your business name, build your brand. But when you haven't even come into business yet, why should you come to the social straight away unless it's your friends and family? You're highlighting them and getting a presence via them. But I would recommend doing a month of these things first. Building, you build like looking for your products, yeah? gaining your stock, trying to sell a couple things, yeah, you've registered your business already, yeah, I'd say get to your social network after a couple weeks, a month, of actually trying to list and sell. Do you get that? Because when you have nothing at the beginning with your social network, it's actually not a good social presence to start off with. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You have to have something to show. You have to. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So when you build your first social network, I may be wrong for saying this because you may be the first thing you should do, build your social network with your brand name. And then when you're out doing all these things, you can profile your journey from the very start of how you are reselling, and it may actually rope in customers.
I think you're right though, because if you've got a brand and nothing to show, then you're just talking about,
and you're lowering your brand and you're not posting in the media.
Maybe you need both.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because
and then this is what I'm selling, blah blah.
Because the way I look at it as, see, for me, I built my social networks with my brand when I got my name in it, yeah? Got my business name, got my social networks, yeah? And you see, yeah, I was promoting and I was following people and people were following me. But because certain things I was doing at the beginning were kind of amateur in sense, and I wasn't understanding, it was trial and error. But I do think with that first Instagram, SJ Cartier Limited UK, I focused it around eBay reselling, and I focused on following all the antique people, all the comic people. You know what I'm trying to say? I followed certain people that I wanted to follow. But at the beginning, yes, I knew what I wanted to sell. Alhamdulillah. I knew what I wanted to sell. I think my social network wasn't getting enough attention. My social network wasn't getting enough attention. She's alright. Wasn't getting enough attention. So I think if I had waited 2 weeks to a month after I've already started selling, when I now come on there, I actually have content that is worth eating up to people. So if I'm saying, oh, I'm just starting my business, but I haven't got I'm trying to do comics, but I've got no comics yet. Come here, Willow. Yeah, I've got no comics yet, but I'm saying I'm a comic business and I haven't got nothing to share. We're not selling what we're collecting. We're selling what we're trying to sell here. So we're not sharing, what we're collecting. We're sharing what we're trying to sell, because we are now not the person, we are now the business. Yeah. So having your social network and not being able to share your comics and your collections is just going to be like, who's this person? Unless you are already known. Because remember, as I'm talking as people that just know we're everyday people and we just want to resell, and we may not have as many people in that community that we want to sell in already. We just want to do that for us, because a lot of our likes people may not like. Like, I like comic books. Certain people hate when I go to comic book shops, even though they do like artwork. They're looking at the art when we've got the comic books. But when it's time to say, oh, I want to go in this comic book shop, they hate it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So
that's not the shop, it's because you take long.
Yeah, but when you understand that, then you realise your likes are your likes. That's your love. So but you get what I'm trying to say. It's your love. So you have to kind of like embrace it. What's she doing? You have to embrace your own love, and that's how you get noticed, when you embrace it. So to embrace the love of reselling, you need to be taking part in it before you're sharing your love of it. It's like posting you're in a relationship before you're actually in a relationship. You just don't do it. So I will say, be on the platform, get a couple of sales, understand how you're trying to get your products, understand what products you're trying to get, And then when you actually start your first social network, that would be so helpful for you because you know the angle to push that particular social network, because you now understand your lane of where you're going. Whereas if you had started it before, you'll make mistakes, and those initial mistakes may be the cause to you having to set up another Instagram like me, SJ Cartier Limited, because SJ Cartier Limited UK, that was my initial reselling profile that showed reselling. It showed me with my website, but it also shared eBay. I'm not an eBay reseller no more, so all those tags are done with eBay UK and eBay reselling does not actually show the brand I am now. And that's why SJ Cartier Limited came, because it's just my website and reselling and life. Then when I actually added my next ones, the football cards, the comics, the antiques and vintage, and my DVDs, music, media one, they was because I realised my main one, SJ Cartier Limited socials, should only be for those highlighted products. And for those everyday products or everyday comics or everyday football cards, everyday DVDs, everyday antiques, that's what those profiles are for. Of course, I get caught up in collaborating with my profile, which does mess up the SEO sometimes because I'm not always sharing as much. I'm trying not to overshare this time. But this is all things you learn, and this is why I say being careful with starting a social network very fast may mess up your continuance in the long run. So buy some products, sell some products, understand what you want to do, where you're going, then build your social networks, then share what you've been doing, then share what you've got to sell, then let all your friends and family know, and tag the right hashtags and the right brands to your products to try and highlight your products now. And because you actually have a presence where it's shown that you've sold a couple items here already, and you show that you've got a couple items in stock, you will now have something on your social media that people can acknowledge for who you are now, and they can then go and look for you, whether it's eBay, whatnot, Amazon, Vinted, or just like me, your very own website. And after you've done your social networks, as I say, you build your awareness and let everybody know. And also you interact with your previous customers, your very first few, and let them aware of your business, your social networks, and let them know there's more products. So those are my 10 little tips for if you want to become a reseller, of how your mindset should be and where you should be thinking you should be going. And I will apologise, because I think I had a long weekend and I planned to do this on the Monday today, and I'm doing it today. And I feel I've got the points across. So I'm going to put the points in at the end. But I feel some points I was a bit long.
I thought it was quite good.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I apologise if it's a bit scratchy here and there, where I think I may have, what's the word? I may not have got it across in the complete way I feel like. But we're going to go over the bullet points now anyway. So, how do I start reselling with no knowledge and no connections? 1, decide why you want to resell, whether it's extra cash or you actually want to take this full time. Decide what you want to sell. Understand the leading brands in those categories that you want to sell, and decide on your brand name and register your business. Identify how you, number 4, identify how you plan to be niche in this field and how you will be able to stand out. Number 5, browse the options you have to sell these products that you want to buy, and where you actually want to sell these products you plan to buy. Number 6, actually go forward and look for those products and resell. Search for these products, buy them, hunt them, get them home. Number 7, get your shipping products. Research the products again for comps and availability, which you should have done beforehand. Plan how to ship them. Take your pictures. List the items on the platforms. Number 8, list the items on the platforms that you want to list on. Number 9, start getting noticed by customers and start understanding what they want and understanding how your customer service, building your customer service and the service you are looking to offer. Number 10, build a social network and start building awareness to your previous customers, to your friends and family, and everybody else who is in the field. So those are my 10 tips from how to be a reseller with no knowledge and no connections. And I do really hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any other questions, please put them in, because as you see, I'm starting to do a little bit of longer videos now. And I'm starting to have my partner again asking questions. And I hope you understand and start to learn the questions actually help open up my mind a bit more, which is more beneficial for you. So ask me questions, get in the comments. What would you like to know? What would you like my opinion on? Because remember, we're all giving opinions here. Not everything's right here, but those 10 steps are. So thank you for joining us. Check out your limited combos, and I hope you have a good day.